Hi, I'm Jeff, and this is MyVanMonty. Today I am going to do a LED lights update to my headlights. I have an open glass van mod kit to update the headlights. I've been holding off for quite some time, and today I'm going to give it a shot. The headlight kit I purchased from Open Glass Van Mods comes with 4 LED bulbs, along with some adapters, a pry tool, and the screwdriver and the attached pieces that go with it for the installation. To start, I have to remove those screws there to pop off this top panel right here. There's a larger screw down the bottom right here. Now I need to use the pry bar to get in here and pop the panel off. It comes off nice and easy. And the same thing for this one. Now I need to remove the screws from the top and from the bottom to remove the whole light housing. And then from there, take the pin and remove that. And then the whole light housing is off. Now we remove the caps to the light housing there and there. Now we have access to the interior. And our lights are actually right in there and right in there. We gotta do both high beams and low beams. Go in and press the tab to disengage the light, and the light comes out like that, and you wiggle, and there's one, and there's two. The housing wires are a little like wiggled around in there. Makes it a little difficult to get in there, but he gives you a hex screwdriver in the kit, and you gotta go and undo that little screw that's in there, the one right here. So now I'm taking the low beam, the beam collar that comes off the edge here, and then putting it into the adapters that they provide, and then sliding it in right into the light fixture in there. So that's where it's supposed to set in. And then I need to tighten that bottom screw. So now I can take my bulb and insert it into the slot. There's two like ribs on there on the edge, little notches. You can see the notches in there. I have to match them up like this. There you go. So it seats in like that, and then I twist the actual bulb so that the wire is in the 6 o'clock position. And then I take this, and my negative charge over here needs to be against the thumb depressor edge of the power source. That's where I need to put that. So we go like this, and then my negative side goes toward that, and then plug that in there, and then I can tuck this away. The first light is in. The high beam side is slightly different. It's reversed, it's upside down. So this time for the high beam, this goes in first, and then the long side is facing out, and it seats into this area here like that, and it just sits in there with the tab down the bottom. And then this part goes on the outside and the little wings go into the top edge. But that goes in there like that, and then your screw goes into the top edge and then fastens that white piece into place. And then we take our LED bulb, and then this one, the little fins there are gonna match up on here, and then your wiring harness goes to the top. So at 12 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock like the last one. Fits in like that, and then we twist to get those seated correctly in there. There we go, and our bulb is at 12 o'clock. And then we take out our plug adapter, and then same goes for this one. Our pressure tab here goes to our negative, so right there to there, and then we plug that in like that. Put this, tuck that inside away from the fan here. So that one's at 6 o'clock, that one's at 12 o'clock. And then we put our covers back on like this, and then we mount it back into the van. So now we take the light and we grab the wiring harness and we plug this back in, and it clips back in like that. There's a ball pin at the top right here that you can see that snugs in right into the top, so we're just going to snap that in. So that snaps in there. That's snug back in. I just got to put the paneling on the top and bottom, just so you can see these two pieces pop into there. This piece here hooks into there. There's another one here that hooks onto that, and then the last one is just a screw in the bottom. One thing I would say is for this panel piece here, just be really careful getting it off. Those tabs are super easy to break, and I broke one. So just be careful. All in all, a super easy installation from Open Glass Van Mods. Doing the LED lights. Bought them over a year ago and hung around and waited on it because I was nervous to do it, but super easy. It took me literally under an hour to do both headlamps, so super stoked. Check out Arvin at Open Glass Van Mods. Pretty awesome.